AgweekTV weather is brought to you by Kaler Farms.
As the calendar approaches the month of November, we finish off the October. We'll check sort of the state of things around the world and specifically across the United States. Heavy rainfall last week throughout the Pacific Northwest. Didn't do much for agriculture at all, really, with most areas out there basically a forest. However, it did have an effect on weather across the United States. There was generally less rainfall because it was really mostly concentrated in the Pacific Northwest. And that pattern has set up a fairly mild temperature regime across the Great Plains, upper Midwest, and that continues as we go into the weather this week. Another thing that happened this past week is that the Climate Prediction Center has put out a La Nina watch. For a while there this fall, it was looking like La Nina conditions were not developing. Maybe the winter would go El Nino, La Nina neutral, but it now is beginning to look like at least a weak La Nina, potentially a strong one. What does that mean? Well, all that cold water from the upwelling across the tropical regions of the Pacific will have an impact on the jet stream. And whereas we've seen the jet deliver a lot of mild weather to the country, the La Nina pattern tends to favor ridging out west and a dump of cold air from time to time, not continuously, but this definitely raises the odds for a little colder winter into the northern plains, upper Midwest, at least near average and potentially below average temperatures for the winter season. Something to keep in mind because right now the overall pattern is looking very mild. That's because of this ridging at the upper level. The jet stream is favoring warm temperatures right now, but when the La Nina pattern begins to kick in, which will likely take place during November, I think we'll see a flip-flop here and the jet stream will start coming more out of the north. So enjoy this pattern for the time being. It's allowing a lot of mild weather in the southern states. That may linger. Texas across to Florida will likely have a milder than average winter, but up here in the northern plains things will be turning. But this week we'll have plenty of mild temperatures around as the main branch of the jet stream staying pretty far south this week, probably into the last week of October as well. In terms of precipitation and temperatures, the next couple of weeks generally much above average over the Corn Belt and northern plains. That doesn't mean we're going to be seeing records. It just means we're not going to be seeing any Arctic air for the next 2 weeks or so. It will be fairly wet at times. Pacific Northwest still wet. Rocky Mountain snows. Dry weather throughout the southeast. Much of the Corn Belt looks rainy. Northern Plains not necessarily rainy, but not exactly dry either. The second week of the forecast period is looking a little drier, although there will be some wet weather in the middle, right along the west coast. The Rockies are looking dry next week. Rain in the southern plains up through the northern plains, and elsewhere things are looking relatively dry in the east. So what we're seeing, still rainy in the Midwest, central weather warmer, but winter will arrive.